I got pooped on by a bird when I turned 30. My 30th birthday, I was walking down the streets of New York City and a bird pooped on my shoulder, and I was not happy. I was in a tough place in my life, and I was like, that's just it. That's an indication of where I am in life. A bird poops on my shoulder. But somebody then once told me that's actually good luck. But anyway, things got better.
I don't know where to
30.
go after that. How do I then kind of turn the corner and say, this is where I want to go with my life, and this is how I'm going to get there.
And today is the best day to start with that.
Right.
You know,
no matter what age you are.
No matter what age you are, to look back and say, have I accomplished, even have I done the calling that God has put on my life? That didn't actually come out very well, but has the calling that God put on my life been accomplished? Am I living in His will? Am I doing the things He wants me to do? And if the answer is no, or maybe a little bit, then now's the time to reevaluate.
Am I growing closer to God is a question that I think is a good one.
There's been a recurring thing for me, and I don't know about you guys, but nothing happens by accident. Nothing good anyway.
Yes.
I mean,
no growth happens.
Yeah, when I think about my life and how I've not been very good at setting intentions, because I blame that on being a creative, but that's not really true. The more busy that your schedule gets, if you don't intentionally plan time to accomplish the things that you feel like God's called you to do, they're not going to get done. And I've been reading this book that's been messing with me all year long. That's why it's taken me a long time to read the book, because I'll get mad at the author and put it down. If you haven't read Spiritual Disciplines by Donald Whitney, and you want a book to mess with you, get that book, because like every chapter, I would find something in that chapter to go, like, seriously? And he's talking about this woman who had lived her life, and she said, I made a list of all the things that I was going to do when my kids graduate, or when, I retire, or when. And she said, what I realize is that when never comes. Yep. She said, so I'm going to make an intention to do those things today, even if it's just a small step in that direction. And so that's been a recurring theme for me. A couple weeks ago, my pastor said, you don't drift toward God. Another one of those things that was like, okay, God, I hear you.
So true.
And I think as we age, we tend to focus, or at least I do. I won't say we, because that's wrong. But I tend to focus on my limitations.
Sure.
Yes.
So as I age, I have more limitations. But really, that's not the way to look at it. Really, if we turn that thing inside out, although my body may be slowing down and there may be changes coming in that realm, and I'm realistic about that. I don't want to act like that's not happening. But even though that's happening, there are so many more benefits of what I've lived and what I've learned and what I have to give.
Yes.
And so I think maybe even in Christian communities, we have it backwards, that we tend to focus all on what has happened physically instead of what God has done spiritually.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I'm writing that down.
Our tendency is to complain. I mean, that's our human nature. Our human nature is to complain about all the things, whatever it is, instead of celebrating all the things. And so if we really did flip that around and start talking about all the wonderful blessings that we've had all over our lives, all the ways we've seen God move in our lives, and not focus on the pain.
Yes. I think our culture pushes us to that, because our culture prizes youth, and the younger you can look. That's why we're all shelling out big bucks for eye cream. I just did it the other day. That doesn't really work, okay? But the culture is like saying, to be beautiful, you need to look young. The younger you are, the more beautiful you are. But other cultures celebrate age, and I think that's very valuable. Your priorities shift as you get older, and it's less about how I look and more about what's the beauty on the inside, and what's the wisdom you mentioned earlier that we're gaining from it. So it can start with us, the shift.
Absolutely it can. And I was thinking, just as you said the word wisdom, I was reading in the Old Testament the other day when God says to Solomon, I'll give you anything that you want. What do you want? And Solomon asks God for wisdom to govern the people and to know the difference between right and wrong, basically. He says, those are the two reasons I want wisdom to do what you've called me to do. And the scripture said, I think it's in the New Living Translation, but it says God was pleased with his gift, that he asked for wisdom as his gift. Yeah. And I turned that around and I started asking myself, what is it I want from God? And is he pleased with what I'm wanting for him to ask for? And why am I wanting it? that for me boiled down a lot of my motivation of what I want. Do I want younger looking skin, or do I want knees that don't hurt, or do I, want to be able to walk upstairs without sounding like I'm dying? All those things, that we joke about and tend to focus on during this season of our lives. What is the gift really that not only has God given us, but what do we want it for? Because we've wasted, not there again, I can't say we, but I have wasted so much time in worrying about things that don't matter.
Yeah, I think you can say that for all of us.
Yeah.
True.
And
Psalms.
yeah.
To talk to a little bit about wisdom, Psalms 90:12 says, "Teach us to realize the beauty of life, so that we may grow in wisdom."
Yeah.
And I mean, to me, that says wisdom comes from understanding, looking around at all the beauty in our lives, and looking around at all the wonderful blessings and all the way God's moved in our lives, not just looking around at all of the ugly, all the ways we hurt and all the ways we pain. But wisdom, like you said, that's what we want. We want to be wise as we age.
And pass that on to younger folks and older folks. I think wherever we are, we have the ability to speak into the lives of someone in a different stage.